Hello. This week's 52 Frames Challenge is Dreamscapes, which in my own words is an unrealistic image that is made out of photographic materials. The inspiration that I thought of, they listed their own, but I thought of Jerry Alsman. He did all this stuff in the darkroom, like before there were even computers. And so I've always found that inspirational. It was when I was reading this part that I started getting my idea. So we ask that your entry is a photo taken this week. We do not consider generated AI to be a part of the photographic experience. This has been a huge debate of late. I think it was last year somebody entered a generated image into an art competition, and it was sort of like the first really big and tangible example of generated AI being good enough to sort of get past some kind of gatekeeping to be a part of a gallery without people realizing it. And so I do appreciate this sentiment. And I think most of us are here when you sign up in 52 frames, it's about being consistent, not being a perfectionist, etc. However, then I also was remembering just very recently, when did this article come out? March 20th. So it's April 16th right now. AI images can do hands now. And this was a big deal. Hopefully this is my picture in picture isn't in the way. This is an image of what hands were like with Midjourney 4. I didn't really research where the source of this is. I just did a quick search on Google. But now version 5 does them hyper realistically. And so it got me thinking about this other pattern that happens in technology where we make an improvement and yet there's something about the thing we improved from that we actually liked. So you think about vinyl records. It had this crackle, this imperfect sound of dust in the grooves or whatever it was. And now you can find that analog sound being added into digital music because there's something we liked about it. Or think about just a few years ago, it seems like if somebody shot a video in vertical format on their phones, they would be ridiculed and berated and, don't do it like that. And now it's all the rage. So it got me thinking, as now AI does hands perfectly and, it's currently the worst it's going to be for the rest of our lives. Will this mean that there's something about messed up hands that we like? And it got me thinking, this is how we have to make it look like an AI didn't do it. We have to manually take the step to mess up the hands. And so that was my idea. I'm going to do a photo that hopefully, I think we've all been there on 52 frames. You're just sort of mindlessly scrolling through all the submissions. I want to make something that looks normal enough that it sort of passes the scroll by test. But then if you're really looking at it, it'll look messed up. And so what you're going to see, because I'm trying to replicate the style of AI, I feel like I need to really validate and qualify myself. So I'm going to screen record myself in Photoshop. You will learn that I know Photoshop, but I am not an expert by any means. And sometimes I'll just cut something out destructively rather than use a mask. Or maybe I don't know all the keyboard shortcuts. I'm not here to perform. I'm just here to, on a Sunday afternoon, try and cram through my 52 frames sort of late because it was a busy work week. So I think we've all been there too. And one last thing. So I was looking through the Midjourney showcase. I don't follow this stuff very closely, but I spent 5 minutes looking at version 5 version 4 prompt results versus version 5. I looked at the hands stuff. What other tabs we got here? I noticed this happens a bit. Eyes being hyper bluified and skin looking super smooth. That's because a lot of the data sets come from over processed images of models. That's why we get a lot of model-like people. Yeah, there's some skin smoothing, although this also kind of looks like model type shots from professional photographers, where you got the super shallow depth of field going on as well. So maybe we can look at some of that. Also looks a little cartoony, smoothed out. So let's see if we can do some of that. What have we got to start with? So I'm going to open up Photos. I've already loaded photos off my camera. Okay, so in Apple Photos, this is what I have to start with. Actually, let me scroll down to the bottom. I got my wife to shoot a picture of how this is all set up. So I had my camera here pointed at this abstract pour paint that's on the wall. That's my frame. I made it so that you don't see the wall behind it. There's me, clarinet. And I've got the mouthpiece off because I want to look like there's something a little off. If you know the clarinet, it'll be super suspicious. So probably I laugh when I see stuff like this. This is me just having fun as I find my lighting and framing composition. So the head that I'm probably going to use is one of these shots where I have the actual mouthpiece in my mouth. I want the embouchure, like the hair, your mouth shape, to sort of match that. I don't love the lighting. There's a bit of a, shadow over here. Whatever. Sunday afternoon, rushing. Yeah, I wonder, I'll brighten up the eyes, maybe give them that blueness, but yeah, the head will probably be something like that. And then I have a whole bunch of these where I'm going to take this kind of thing and have metal. So the mouth will go over that. And then I want to add some more metal ornamentation, whatever these things are, all sorts of little details. And I want that oddly going into my mouth. And so, yeah, without further ado, I'm not going to talk through the whole thing. I'm just going to probably speed this up now. You can sort of watch me build this composite monster thing. Here we go. Okay, let me break down what I've done here so far. I started with a layer like this. I did do a little bit of dodging. I did use the healing brush to remove some, I don't know, freckles and things like that. Usually I don't, like I'm not self-conscious about those things, but I do want this to look surreal. So I spent a little time on that. Then I've got this folder here of different layers where I stuck in the clarinet. And then what's this? Oh yeah, this is an extra layer that I copy pasted and edited to have just more clarinet texture. And then there's the little extra metal piece coming out of my mouth. Then the eye layer. So I actually just copied the one eye over so it would have less reflection in it. Really amped up the saturation and just picked a blue. And used the burn tool aggressively to bring the pupil in over there. Then the hands, left and right. I'm just going to do one more little burn on this, but essentially there's a lot going on with the hands. Extra pinky, extra index, extra pinky, extra thumb. And yeah, brightened up the face to maybe just sort of bring some attention to the foreground there. What I just love is like this pinky here. Without it, it actually looks weird because it's just like what was going on there with that hand. I don't know. Anyway, it's not perfect. Obviously, it is a dreamscape, so I don't need it to be perfect, but you know, I'm feeling about done with this. So now I'm going to just bring this into the old Lightroom. So let's see how that goes. Okay, so I just added a linear gradient. It's okay. I don't know. You know what? This is a little different than how I thought it would be in the imagination, but I think I might just dial down the eyes and maybe just do a little bit more fussing. But essentially, I think I've proven that this was not made by AI. Meaning not using Midjourney, but some of these advanced tools like the healing brush and things that make suggestions for skin smoothing and which presets to use, those actually do use AIs of different points. But then again, so did the autofocus that I used on my camera. So it's a blurry line. It's an interesting time. I hope you enjoyed this. All right, thanks.